show is not for the faint of heart. Seriously, watch out.
Hey guys, welcome to the Sabotage Show. I am your saboteur, the moderately annoyed Canadian, and today I am joined by none other than the big black hat man, Mark himself. How you doing, Mark?
I'm good, thanks, man. How are you?
Not too bad at all. So you had a chance to listen to the last show?
Yep. Yeah, I just finished listening to it a little bit ago, episode 1.5.
1.5.
Yeah.
So this is the official episode 2. That's right.
Oh, man. That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I'm feeling it now. I'm sweating a little bit, but some of the things I wanted to ask you right off the bat was,
Yeah.
what do you think of what James had to say in his last video?
Well, clearly I agree with it. I mean, because we've been working on site promotion now for a long time. It's just, I believe it's actually getting easier now as the site's gotten bigger and we've been able to push outwards. I think he's made some really good points, and I'm doing everything I can. I know I've been doing everything I can for like a year and a half now. So I think, yeah.
Yeah, it's not easy, hey, when you're trying, because I've never worked in anything like this before. Like, it's almost a business in the sense that you just kind of want to try to make money, and at the same time you want to try to still enjoy it. Where do you find the mixes in there? Like, do you still enjoy doing what you're doing, or do you find it's becoming more difficult when you're trying to promote it more?
Oh no, I still enjoy it. I mean, that's actually the thing with me is if it got to the point where I wasn't enjoying it, I probably wouldn't do it. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, if it becomes a little too business, like this is my fun hobby, you know, and I don't think we'll ever get there. I think, you know, we'll always kind of keep it loose and fun, despite, you know, trying to make roads into expansion, which is tough because it's such a new medium in a way, right? I mean, it's not like a lot of people have done this to this point.
Yeah.
So,
what do you think of the growth so far in the last, you said year and a half? What do you think of it so far?
oh, it's been phenomenal in a year and a half because, like, when I joined the site, I think there was like 15 members.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now we're over 300. So, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
it's a nice, slow, steady pace. I think it's good to have that sort of pace. That way it doesn't overwhelm us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I continue to grow as we learn more.
Yeah. And like, yeah, because you're comparing it to like the guy with the glasses or a blip or YouTube, right? Because like I was saying before, it's easy to get caught up in the mix of all these people, like probably a billion people on a YouTube putting out these videos every day, right? And then next thing you know, you're never going to get seen in and amongst those.
Yeah, but I don't think we ever want to be like a YouTube. Like, that's just crazy. And like YouTube's, let's be honest, it's a great big dumpster in a lot of ways, right? Like, everybody just kind of throws their shit in there and hopes somebody sees it. First curse word of the show, by the way, right? I just caught right there. So
Nice. Hold on. I will. You deserve an applause for that.
Oh, thank you.
But I was kind of thinking the same thing too. I used to actually, I guess I shouldn't say I used to, but it wasn't until about a year ago I actually even created a YouTube account, and that was only because I wanted to actually make comments on people's videos, and even like people's videos. But even to this day, like, I only go there to really view things that I find to be interesting to me, as opposed to just what the biggest hit of the week or the day is. You know what I mean? Like, somebody put something out there that's got 15 million hits because it's somebody dancing in the street or being an idiot. So to me, coming to this site, it was a great experience because it was like, these are actual human beings, and these are people's views and opinions on more than just like I said, somebody dancing around being an idiot. Yeah.
I say this with pride. I have never watched the Gangnam Style video, and I won't. I openly refuse to.
Same. I have stood strong in that whole thing.
Yeah.
I often get lost in in what people are talking about because I'm like, I have never heard of that before, ever.
I found it's always not a bad thing to be a little distant from pop culture, because it's easy to be extremely annoyed by pop culture.
I totally agree. Now, on that note, do you have a Facebook account, obviously?
Yes.
Do you find since you've signed up, like I don't know when you signed up, but do you find since you actually created an account on there that it's become harder and harder for you to actually maintain tolerance for some of the people on your account?
I've been on Facebook for a long time now. I actually originally got on there like 3-4 years ago to just connect with some of my family, and that's kind of how we stayed in communication for a while. And there are people I've unfriended over the years because they keep sending me game requests I just don't give a shit about. So
yeah, that's actually one of the main reasons I actually ended up disabling my account or deactivating my account was because of things like that. I found, the last thing I need is a 2 o'clock in the morning message from my mom asking if I want to play,
Candy Crush. They always want me to play Candy Crush or something like that.
Exactly, yeah. Like, last I heard 2 months ago, my mom didn't even know how to turn on a computer, let alone use Facebook, so I ended up deactivating my account. But as of today, I did reactivate my account specifically for use of being able to promote manic expression. And I'm hoping that that's as far as it goes. But I was actually one of the people that joined Facebook or signed up to Facebook later because people had been talking about it. Again, I was like, I don't know what the hell is Facebook. It was like MySpace, but apparently it was better.
Yeah, I never did MySpace, so I couldn't tell you the differences. But everybody who did both tells me that Facebook is better. So
yeah.
And well, I've been linking and promoting my videos over there from the very beginning. When I used to write articles, I'd link them and stuff. So I've been trying to convince my friends to watch my stuff for a long time.
Yeah,
they're probably as annoyed as I am with the game. They're like, "Oh, Mark did another video. What a fucking putz."
Do you find that your friends on there or your family, they kind of give you inspiration to do these things? Do you actually find that these people are supportive of what you do?
Oh, my mom and dad definitely are because, my mom and dad are just really awesome people. I'm really blessed because I got a really great mom and dad. And it's always surprises me, like every once in a while, like somebody I would have never expected to watch my stuff will walk up to me and be like, "Hey, I watched your video, man. You're really funny." It's sort of off-putting in a way because you forget.
Yeah.
And you're like, "What?"
Well, and that's the beauty of it is like I said when I was doing the Wallace interview was it is really just for me. It's like having a photo album or I guess a diary. It's something for me to look back on later and say, I can't believe I actually did that, or I can't believe I said that. And it's really of the moment for me. It's never really planned out. I can't write a script for what I do because it's nothing important of any relevance of any kind. That's what the first thing I said when I went and bought a microphone from my local music store was, the guy asked, "So what are you going to be using it for?" I said, "Nothing of any relevance." And he just kind of looked at me blankly and he's like, "Oh, okay." But
the best thing about my show is I've had some of my friends on there, so now I've got great blackmail material. Like, you remember when you did this crap?
Yeah. Oh no, it's gonna backfire you on one day. Yeah. You'll be like, a 40-year-old guy and you'll be like, "Oh, I hate westerns." And they'll be like, "Oh
No,
yeah."
no, that'll never happen.
No.
my dad's in his mid-50s. He still loves them, and that's where I got it from. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly. Actually, the only reason I do half of what I do and listen to half the music I do is because my mom and dad. I found my mom was a huge fan of bands like the Eagles, of course the Beatles, and some really obscure bands that most people don't even know about. And then my dad, on the other hand, was a big fan of everything. Like you were saying in your Q&As, was Johnny Cash, and he loved like the King Bees, AC/DC, anything Southern rock. And so I grew up with that kind of thing. And so in my videos in my background, that's what you'll see is my AC/DC posters and my Cars record, because I don't care. I'll listen to anything out there, and it's all because of how I was raised.
I was actually raised. My dad was like a pretty strict country music guy when I was growing up, but it wasn't until I got to college I started really expanding and listening to all sorts of different kinds of music. So.
Okay. What did you find? What age were you when you started to kind of separate yourself from what you were told was good music, from your parents, and then finally said to yourself, "Okay, this is what I think is good music"?
I don't know. I mean, because my parents never really told me this. They're like, "Well, you got to listen to this." I just listened to it with them. I think I really started to develop my own independent taste when I was like 15, 16. Believe it or not, neither one of my parents were like big Johnny Cash fans. And I just happened to pick up like this like greatest hits of Johnny Cash for like like $4 at Walmart or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
and I was hooked, like instant huge Johnny Cash fan.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so that's kind of when I sort of separated and doing my own thing. So
Yeah, I actually think for me, for Johnny Cash, and I'll be honest with you, I was like I said, my dad did listen to it, and I think he probably had everything on CD, and when I was a kid, record. But when I grew up, it was I never really listened to it. It wasn't until I heard A Boy Named Sue, and then Hurt. When he did the Trent Reznor. The song Hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, that's beautiful. And I picked up my guitar because I've been playing for so long, and I picked it up and I was like, I need to learn how to play that. And it was his voice that made me, like, it almost brought me to tears, because it was like, you really feel the music with him, with Johnny Cash.
very
You know.
passionate singer. That's what
Mhm.
actually American Four, which the album that's on, is the first of the American albums I bought, and I just dig that whole series now. There's all 6 albums I have. So
Yeah. Is that what you kind of listen to? Do you find you listen to anything to motivate you? If you're ever having one of those days, you're kind of down, or you're not inspired to do anything, do you find that there's anything in particular you can listen to or even watch that'll inspire you that day to be motivated to do a video?
I don't know. I'll just kind of kick my Pandora on and just kind of look for something. Like, I don't always know what it's going to be, but I'll kick the Pandora on and just kind of look for a song until I find something. Like the other day, I was trying to do some work and I just couldn't get myself into it. I kicked it on, and like the second song that played was Billy Joel's Piano Man. I'm like, I'm digging this now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's an awesome song.
That's one of those ones, yeah, for sure. Like there's definitely songs that you can hear on the radio over and over and over again, but for some reason, yeah, as soon as the song starts, you're like, oh, it's on again. But then you kind of get into the first maybe few minutes of it, and you're like, oh, I can't not listen to this song. It's so great. It's kind of like the Stairway to Heaven, You've heard it once and you heard it a million times, but you need to hear it again. I kind of, that's how I get inspired by that. Like, I can listen to a song and be like, okay, I can do this now. I'm good to go.
Yeah. There are also songs that make me want to stab my own ear out with a butter knife. Most time when I'm in my vehicle, I'm just in my vehicle, so I just got the radio on. I'll just put the modern country station on, because hey, whatever. And there's 3 of them here in town, so I'll flip back and forth till I find something. Like if Taylor Swift comes on, I'm like, change. Please, somebody, please say Taylor Swift. Good Lord.
Yeah, yeah. Is she? Because we have to listen to her at where I work all the time. She's always on the radio. Oh, but is that one of those? Is she a country singer? I don't even know.
She's supposed to be, but she sounds like a pop singer to me. I don't know. She's probably the most generic female voice in the entire world, so it doesn't really matter what genre she's singing.
Yeah, she's one of the ones that I thought was Avril Lavigne, which is a Canadian artist. But I thought that's who it was at first. I was like, oh, Avril Lavigne has a new album out after 12 years. And then I can
see that. They sound fairly similar.
They totally do. And thank God it's not just me. But yeah, I definitely you get caught up in the pop music, and I can't stand that myself. But occasionally you hear one, and you're like, oh, I guess I kind of like it. But
yeah.
But
well, I mean, that's the thing. I'm not such a hipster. I'll be like, all modern music sucks, But there's a lot of it sucks.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. But which actually kind of brings me to what I wanted to talk about for the site. One of the things that I was thinking regarding Facebook, I guess I should say, for our pages that we have. Do you ever find that you upload it to your Facebook account before you do Manic Expression to kind of get a feel for the audience, like what they might think of it, or suggestions on what you can change or edit in the video you do?
I usually do them at the same time. I'll put it on Manic Expression and Facebook at the same time. So
yeah.
Honestly, once I put the video up, I'm not editing it. If there's a mistake in there, I don't care.
Yeah, no. Just stare blankly at the camera for 5 minutes.
I'll just put it up to be. I'll be like, I'm a no-town hack. I'm sorry.
And that's kind of like me too. I just kind of, I was actually trying to do one video, and it was really very simple in theory, and I wanted to mention the fact that I can't stand these remakes that they're doing for all these great movies that I've loved all my life. And all I want them to do is take a movie that had potential, and could have been a great remake because it didn't really work out the first time. And I couldn't get this. I could not get this video across. I kept fucking up. I think it was at 49 takes one day, and I was like, all right, screw it. And I ended up, and the video ended up being 4 minutes long when it was gonna be originally like 20 minutes long. But
see, I find when I've screwed something up like 5 times, I'm like, okay, I'm either need to walk away from this or change it because I'm not getting it. You know, it's not working for me.
yeah, yeah.
I don't write stuff out word for word. I just kind of decide what I'm going to say and I go. And you know, and if it's not working for me, I'm like, okay, clearly I don't know what I want to say, so I'll sit down and I'll think about it again.
Yeah. Do you ever find that you just need a good night's sleep, and then what you can do is just kind of go out there and like you wake up the next morning, you're like, okay, I think I've got it. You know.
Well, I'm actually a giant insomniac, so it's not usually the sleep that helps.
Yeah.
It's usually more like just start driving my head into the wall until I figure out what I want to do.
Well, what are your plans for your next videos?
Oh, I'm actually going to go back to Western Thought, which I haven't done now in like 3 months because I got caught up in the AFI versus Big Black Hat Man stuff, which was great.
Yeah.
but then I'm you know, then I did my top 10, I did the Q&A, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to go back to doing Western Thought now.
Yes. Is there anything in particular you want to kind of talk about in your next one?
The very next one I'm going to do, I've written a script for, a basic outline of a script, you know. It's going to be a little chance to bash Zane Grey. I'm a fan of Westerns, and Zane Grey seems like an obvious choice of someone I should be a fan of. But the man couldn't write. It's horrid reading Zane Grey, like the most simplistic characters, some of the most average grammar. It's just like, wow. I cannot stand reading Zane Grey, man. And so I'm going to take the opportunity to mock him.
Nice. I like that. I actually, yeah. And other things I actually had a ton of questions for you. But I did want to kind of go over things that you talked about in your video you actually uploaded today. But for the Wallace Show, do you have anything upcoming for that?
I've got some interviews out there, but nothing that's really sort of caught a hook lately. I kind of need to make a little effort now that the AFI thing's over to sort of get that. I thought about doing some different things with Wallace because I realized the interview thing's going to kind of dry up at some point. So I've been thinking about, I've actually had a couple of ideas for his own series in my head, you know, just outside of Western Thought, outside of behind the webcam, something where I can just kind of use the characters I want. Yeah. Because he's such a fun character to do, you know, to do that really snobby.
Yeah.
Fourth, you know, experiencing life through rose-colored glasses.
Yeah, he's pretty much just completely. He's big.
But he's incredibly oblivious. Like, you can tell the guy doesn't have a goddamn clue what's going on.
Yeah, he's very narcissistic in that sense that he's like, yeah, everything else gets put aside for himself, and I love that about him.
Oh yeah. If it's not happening to him, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. And
he just based loosely on every snob you've ever met in your life, you know.
Yeah, and that's perfect. We needed that. And actually, because that was actually one of the very first videos I'd watched. It was probably the second video I'd watched on Manic Expression when I joined the site. But one of the things I wanted to ask you was, what brought you to the site?
Well, I was part of the crew that came from That Guy with the Glasses. I'd been writing blogs over there. I've been writing a series called Support Your Classic Westerns, which is pretty much defunct right now, unfortunately, because I just don't have time. Where I'd write a little article about a classic Western, why you should watch it, and then they had some issues over there. You know, won't go back into those. And James started the site, and he invited me, and at first I hedged. I was like, I don't want to do, you know, I don't know if I really want to do this. And then the man with no chin, he used to be Kyle. He got after me. He's like, you should come over here and join. And so I did. And then I thought, you know, if I'm going to do this though, I should expand. That's actually when I started doing Western Thought. So it's because of the site that I actually even do that series.
Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, so it kind of opened up your vision of it, and you were able to kind of put it out there as a more personal level, almost, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, the site came along at a time when I actually thought maybe this isn't for me. I was actually seriously considering completely quitting the whole, you know, videos and blogs thing at the time. So
okay, yeah, so it's actually a really good thing in your case.
Oh yeah, it sort of saved my hobby.
What did Kyle do on the site, or the man with no chin?
What did he do?
Yeah, like
besides troll it.
Like when he was on the man with glasses, what did he actually do on there?
He mostly just left comments. He's never been much of a writer, but he's always been a very supportive friend and a guy who writes really nice comments. So I mean, even though he doesn't make a lot of creative contributions, I mean, he's an editor. He'll work with people. He's a great guy all around.
Yeah,
And
I've
like I
noticed
said,
that.
he convinced me to come to the site. So
Yeah. So he's got powers over the mind.
yeah.
I noticed that too. I'm suspicious of him.
Well, it's okay. He's probably someone you need to be suspicious of.
Yeah.
He used to do a bit on the digression session because like one of the early shows he was on, we were talking about something, and for whatever reason his mind had drifted off, and somebody addressed him directly, and he goes, "What are we talking about?" And from then on, that's his whole shtick. Every once in a while, he'll come back. What are we talking about?
Yeah. Even though he knew more about Superman than I'll ever know.
Yeah, well, yeah. He was actually one of the few guys who actually, him and the other dude, when we were doing the Superman show, actually knew something about it. So
Yeah. I just kind of fake my way through it. If I can pull it off, awesome. If not, then I'll just sit there and just listen for what you guys have to say, and then okay.
I faked my way through like 3/4 of the topic. When we did the Doctor Who show, I've never watched a single episode of Doctor Who, so I was like, Doctor Who sounds great.
Yeah. I watched an episode of Doctor Who once.
Oh, there you go. You're ahead of me than I've watched any.
But I wish actually I was there for that one. One of my friends is actually going to be producing the movie coming out.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I guess so. I still haven't watched it, but good for him, I guess.
You realize now we're totally going to lose our geek cards because we haven't been watching Doctor Who.
I know.
They're going to revoke our geek cards.
We need to nerd it up. And actually, you know what? I figured I was gonna save this. I was gonna save this for another episode. A confession I wanted to make. Oh, most people are gonna hate me for this. I have never successfully sat through an entire Star Wars movie.
Oh.
Yes, I know.
Oh, you're killing me.
Yeah, I've tried. I've tried every single film that George Toy Boy Lucas has come out with, and I can't do it.
Here's what happened to me. I watched the original trilogy. I was sick at home from school. I can't remember how old I was. My dad had just got it on VHS, and so we sat down. We watched all 3 movies in a row, and I think I was like 10 years old. I was hooked. Man, loved it. Loved it to this day.
Yeah. What did you think of the last ones that came out?
Oh, the prequels? More missed than hit. I mean, the Phantom Menace was just freaking terrible. Revenge of the Sith has got some good action in it, so it's redeemable in some ways, but they definitely were disappointing. I mean, but I don't know if there's any way they couldn't have been just a little disappointing because the first trilogy has such a sentimental place in my heart. How in the world are they going to ever reach that point?
Yeah.
And I think maybe the prequels being a little bit underwhelming will sort of pave the way for the new films because I maybe feel a little bit better about them coming out. I've lowered my expectations, so if those are just good, I'll be okay with them.
Yeah. I know this is probably a topic for the digression session, but what are your thoughts on Disney taking over?
I think it's good. I mean, look what they've done with Marvel. Look what they've done with almost every property they bought. Disney, though they don't do everything perfectly, don't get me wrong, but when they buy a property, they respect the property and they know how to handle it. They don't blender into these things. They don't spend that kind of money unless they know exactly what the hell they're doing.
Yeah.
So I'm going to trust them that their purchase of Lucas, that they know exactly what they're doing with it. So.
No, that's a good point because they're pretty smart. I mean, how many times can you look back in the history of Disney in a whole and say that they fucked up on this and they fucked up on that? Because realistically, if they have made mistakes, they've managed to compensate by making something pretty great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in the 80s, their animated films had really, popularity-wise, gone downhill, right?
Yeah.
So they refocused, they redid things, and in '89 they come out with Little Mermaid, and all of a sudden they're the greatest animation company that ever was again.
Yeah.
I mean, how often does a company do that? Just repurpose themselves and just go, okay, no, screw this, we're still the best. Here it is.
Yeah. And they excelled with, like you said, from the late '80s to the mid '90s, and even now with like Toy Story coming out with computer animated. And then they went into like with Toy Story and everything like that. They just it's like nonstop for those guys.
Yeah, I mean they were smart enough to start up Pixar and John Lasseter. I mean, they're always smart enough to hire the best people out there.
Yeah,
That's another thing about it. I mean, a lot of people have complained about J.J. Abrams
Yeah.
for the seventh Star Wars film. But you know what? J.J. Abrams movies make a lot of friggin' money.
Mm-hmm.
It honestly seems like a pretty smart choice for the film.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's actually completely true. And like they don't make too many mistakes, and it's like a decade in between every time if they do. But couple more questions I just want to ask you
Okay.
for the show was in regards to manic expression. What do you think we can do as members and admin? What can we do to increase the site's popularity and maybe try to make the site some money?
Uh, just as far as the popularity goes, just never stop promoting. If you see someone out there you think might want to join, you see someone who might want to just be part of the site, be part of the community, maybe someone you're supposed to do comments, every chance you get, in your daily life, in your Facebook, whatever you want to do. I mean, clearly, there's limitations to that too, but I think just sort of being very sort of, a little stick-to-itiveness, it'll bow your back a little bit and say, you know what, this works, and I want people to know this works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And just kind of keeping at it, no matter what. Even when we were going to suffer setbacks, no doubt in my mind. It's just something that happens in life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But when we suffer those setbacks, when things aren't going our way, we bow our back, we keep working, and we find new paths.
Yeah. No, and it's totally true. Like when I watch, I'm not looking for anybody in particular to watch. Like when I first joined, it was definitely like, okay, where's Decker? Because that was one I was looking for. I saw James do the episode on Stop the Hate, which was the one he did on male body image, which is the one I did a response to.
Yeah,
and
great
then
episode.
yeah, and I was like, oh, these are fucking fascinating episodes. But that's usually how it starts, right? You join a site and you follow certain people and you kind of ignore other people's content that they like to upload. And so when I joined the site, I was like, you know what? This time I want to kind of look at everybody. And so I knew about, like I said, the Wallace character. I knew about that show. I was like, this is good, right? This is good shit. And because I found that only because I typed in James on the search and it brought up your show. You interviewed him, right? So I was like, okay, this is good, right? And then I was like, this is fucking funny. Like, I got to see more of this guy. So that's how I started watching you. It was the second show I started watching. And then from then on, it was like, okay, I got to watch this guy and I got to read these blogs, or these are pretty fucking funny. And then next thing you know, I was like, oh, I should probably upload something, right? I was like, what am I going to do for an upload? What am I going to do? And I was like, oh, shit, I don't know, because I've never done a video before. I uploaded, it was like I don't even know if I actually successfully uploaded it, because back in the, I should say late 90s, maybe like early 2000, I was, I think I said it was, Napster, sorry. It was Napster was the only thing out there, and so you could download music from there and download different things. So the only thing I ever did was do a silly commercial for a beer at the time I was drinking, right? And I just put it out there. I don't know if it actually even got online, because I was dialing, my internet was dial up at the time.
Oh god, dial up, man.
Yeah. But now I was like, okay, so I might as well do a video. I have like webcams and stuff like that. And I did a video and I uploaded it, and I was like, fuck, this is fun. I like doing this. I don't care if anybody watches it or whatever. And from then on, it was like, you know what, I really like the experience, and I really want to help the site in any way I can, apart from
totally
nudity.
Joy. Yeah. I will say this, like when we first started the site, like I watched every single video and read every single blog, but it's gotten to the point where I cannot do that anymore. I'll admit, like, it's just a little too prolific, and I just don't have the time.
You know what? You're right. You're completely right, because I've been trying to. Like, I know I work full time, and I'm sure you do as well. And it's hard to get out there, and you want to. You really want to get out there and commit to all these people that are uploading their content and their work that they're really putting a lot of work into. And you really want to show the support that you can, but it's hard to with so many people, because I know it's only 300 members, but it's still 300 people that you're trying to support.
Oh yeah, and I mean you'll get 6, 7, 8 videos a day, and they're all 10 to 20 minutes long, and it's I mean that's a lot of time out of your day.
It really is, yeah.
But I'm then there's people who I'm close friends with, and I always try and catch their stuff, and there's a lot of people I'd love to sit and watch, but I just man, I just don't have the time, and I really wish I did. But hey, that's life, you know. Unfortunately, I have to make money so I can actually do this stuff.
Yeah.
I got to spend 50 hours a week or so at my job so I don't go broke.
Yeah. Videos are great, but I don't know, paying the rent and it's pretty important.
Yeah, food, gas, stuff like that.
I guess I should eat this week. But
having clothes to wear so I don't have to go around naked.
who needs clothes?
Oh, I need clothes. Trust me, the whole world would insist upon me wearing clothes if they saw me without.
I don't know. Depends on where the site goes in the next 5 years. We'll see what happens. That might be what makes you money.
Just be porn like everybody else.
Yeah. I've actually noticed that's one thing I have noticed about the site is there's a lot of people that do upload videos. And they often, and this is pretty common in this day and age. I know the way I was raised was a little differently, but you know it's a little different nowadays where people are still living at home with their parents, you know, which is fine. But and they're able to do these videos and post every day, and it's I mean it can be a really good thing, but at the same time it's like, man, when I was your age, I was already working full time and looking for an apartment to rent.
Well, we're old men by the site standards, so.
Apparently, and that worries me a little bit. I feel so old now. Oh.
I always make fun of the other dude privately because I'm a decade older than he is.
Oh wow, really?
I'm literally a full decade older than him.
I did not. What is he? 21?
Yeah, he's 21 years old. I mean, I'm not that old, but man, I'm like, holy crap. By the time you were born, I was headed to junior high, man.
Oh, I know. And have you ever brought up a movie that you've watched in your past and they're like, I've never heard of it?
Oh, TV shows. Like when I talk about TV shows I watched as a kid, like Smurfs and Gummy Bears and stuff like that. Like half of them are like, what the hell is that? I've never heard of that. I'm so old.
I brought up Wayne's World one time, and I was talking to somebody I work with, and this was a couple years ago. I was like, yeah, Wayne's World, you know the scene with Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen, and they're all singing in the car. He's like, I'd never seen that movie before. Oh.
You can't be our age and have not seen Wayne's World because it was like a cultural phenomenon.
It literally was. It was probably in my opinion, one of Saturday Night Live's best. What do you call that? One of those branch off from the show.
Yeah. Yeah, when they actually made a movie from the skits. Yeah, that was one of the few times it actually worked because most of the time it was terrible. They were terrible.
Yeah, like It's Pat. You remember It's Pat? Oh, that was horrible.
Oh. I thought it wasn't even that funny of a skit. Why they thought that would make a movie, I have no idea.
I know. I don't get it. Oh, we're totally.
Back to Roxbury too. Like,
yeah. I saw that in theaters. What is with me in horrible movies in theaters?
I don't know, man. I've only done that a few times in my life. You seem to have a knack for it.
I do. I even saw that one movie, The Game, came out in '90. I want to say it was my 16th birthday. It was with I can't remember his name right now, but it was a horrible movie, and it was on my birthday. I was with my mom. I was like, oh, this movie sucks. But I have this knack for going out and finding these horrible movies and watching them.
I have one horrible movie story. I'll tell you real quick.
Mm-hmm.
It was free movie night when I was going to college, and they had free movie night for the college kids.
Mm-hmm.
And so they had like 4 movies there, and I didn't really want to go see any of them. But I walked in, and I was like, well, screw it, I'll just go home. But then this friend of mine walks in, and she says, hey, we're going to go see The Mexican with Julia Roberts and Brad Pitt.
Mm-hmm.
All right, fuck it, I'll go see The Mexican with these guys. And so we sit down, and it was packed theater because it was free movie night. We're sitting on the edge at the back row. Halfway through this film, I'm thinking to myself, oh, I should walk out of this movie. This movie's friggin' terrible. But I looked at my friend sitting there. We had honors class together. She was a nice person, so I was like, I'm going to sit here through this movie with her because screw it, I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
And it gets over, and I'm like, so what'd you think? She's like, oh, it was horrible, but I thought about leaving halfway through, but you were sitting right next to me. I didn't want to walk over you. I'm like, oh, shit. We could have left this movie.
Yeah, that's when you need to learn the shoulder or the elbow nug. You kind of just hit them with your elbow and be like, what do you think of the movie so far?
Yeah, I should have said something to her at some point, like, this movie's freaking terrible, let's leave.
I saw a couple.
Pool or something.
I was actually one of those experiences where I saw a movie that everybody else didn't like but me. It was, what was it, Ghost Ship? It came out a few years ago. And I was really into it. I was like, this movie is fucking awesome. And I'm looking over at my friends, and they're all kind of like, oh, this sucks. I was like, oh, man, I must be a big fucking loser because I'm really liking this movie.
well, it wasn't me, but when we went to see Green Lantern, like me and like 5 other people went and saw Green Lantern. Like the 4 of us were like, that was pretty average, and they didn't do a very good job with that. And my one friend's like, that was awesome. We're all like, okay.
He's the one that likes Shazam as well. Oh, which I also saw in theaters. Yeah. What is
I
the
didn't think
matter
anybody
with
saw
you?
Shazam in theaters. I thought that was like straight to DVD film.
Yeah, it should have been.
Really should've.
Not even DVD. I think it was still VHS back then.
Beta Max.
Yeah. Oh.
The great big, one of the great big laser discs.
Yeah.
Just put it straight to laser disc.
I would actually do. I would do an entire episode on beta and laser. I would totally do that. That would be worth watching right there.
I can honestly say the first time I saw the first 3 Star Trek movies was on Laserdisc.
Really?
Yeah, my uncle had them, and we were like, I don't know, we were like 9, 10 years old, and we just happened to be at his house, and my cousin was a big Star Trek Next Generation fan. He's like, you should watch these movies, and so I think that over a couple of days, we watched all 3 of those films on Laserdisc.
Yeah, it would take a couple of days for sure because you fall asleep midway through, especially the one about the whales. Oh.
We didn't get to that one. We only watched the motion picture Wrath of Khan and Search for Spock.
Oh,
So,
okay. Wrath of Khan is pretty good.
yeah, Wrath of Khan's the one I really enjoyed. The first
yeah.
movie is the boring ass one.
I know. What did you think of the new ones?
I enjoy them. I mean, as a bigger fan of Star Wars over Star Trek, and Abrams kind of putting a little Star Wars in the Star Trek, I enjoy that angle. I know a lot of the pure fans don't like it, but I think it's good, and I think the cast he's got together has been pretty good. And I saw the new one in theaters this year, and it was solid. I had fun watching the film. You know, that's kind of the litmus test for me. Did I sit and enjoy this film and not get bored and want to walk out? You know, and I didn't at any point. You know. Yeah,
no, and I think you're right on that. Actually, I think a lot of the Trekkies, or I don't know what to call them, because I'm a Star Trek.
Les tells me it's Trekkers.
Trekkers. Okay, because I was a big fan of one of the series that they had on TV for a while. Voyager, I think it was called. Yeah, Voyager. And I wouldn't consider myself a Trekker, but I think when you're going to see a new movie, whether it be a remake or a reimagining of something, you have to put that aside and say, okay, let's look at this as something new.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And they just don't do that. They want to look at it, and they're shitting on it before it even comes out, but they'll still pay the money just to take a shit on it and make a video update the next day and say this movie sucked and just stop the hate, guys. I mean, like, it started to take something from James's book, but
the popularity of trolling on the internet is something we just can't overcome.
No, it's impossible. It just drives me nuts.
That being said, the Jonah Hex movie was still fucking awful.
Was it really?
Oh God,
I haven't seen it.
Well, it just as a film, like, forget the fact that they totally betrayed their source material, but just as a film, it's a mess of a film. Like the villain's plan is like the most MacGuffin, senseless plan you've ever heard in your entire life. and it's clearly, I think it runs times like an hour and 30, hour and 40 minutes. It was clearly supposed to be like a 2-hour, 2.5-hour film. They clearly cut out big chunks of it, and man, it really hurts the film.
Oh yeah.
Like the final battle scene goes back and forth between like real life and like this hellish landscape, and you're like, wait, where did this come from? I think there was supposed to be something in there, but they didn't ever get it explained, so it just kind of pops up, and you're going, I guess, a nonsensical end to a nonsensical friggin' movie. So, you know.
Yeah. But I've heard mixed reviews on that one.
I haven't heard. I've heard nothing but bad reviews on it. And I'm gonna be honest with you. If you've read the comic book, you're not gonna be able to overcome it. It really kills the source material on that one.
Yeah, I would say though, when it comes to comic books, I never read them as a kid. I think that the only one I could really imagine picking up right now would be The Walking Dead, just because I really got into the series.
Yeah.
But I have no idea what it's about. Like, apparently it does stray away from the comic, the original. But I hear it's still pretty good compared to it, so yeah.
Well, in fairness too, I didn't read comic books growing up either. We didn't have access to them because I'm from a really rural area. I didn't start reading Jonah Hex till I was like late 20s.
Yeah.
The only two I read are Jonah Hex and Hellboy. I started reading Hellboy shortly after the first movie came out. I really got intrigued with that. So.
Yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying. Like, I really didn't get into novels much. I think I do remember the first book I ever read was The Outsiders.
Oh,
Yeah,
see it?
yeah,
Mhm.
it was good. And then the first novel I had read, like it was a birthday present. I think I was 12 years old, 11 or 12. My mom had gotten me Stephen King's It, and I have been hooked ever since. I still read that. Like every chance I get, I'll just be like, "Oh, I gotta read it. I gotta read it. It's great."
Yeah, I'm personally a big reader. I can't tell you how many novels I've read in my life, and I've read everything from modern to classic literature. So
Mm-hmm.
I just mentioned the Q&A video. My all-time favorite book is Joseph Heller's Catch-22. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was listening to that and I was watching. I was like, okay, well maybe I'll have to take a look at that. I have no idea what it's about.
it's well, real quickly, it's about World War II pilots and kind of the madness they're starting to go into.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's definitely an account that's not maybe realistic, but more about the psychological damage that people are going through. So
Mm-hmm. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's non-linear. I will warn you, it's a non-linear book, so it does take a while to get into it. So.
Oh no problem. Like I said, listen, I read Stephen King. That's that. If anything, that'll put you to sleep for the first, I'd say 150 pages, and then finally something happens, and then you go back into it, and you're like, oh, okay, nothing's happening again. But
Well, I hate to reveal this to you, but I'm not a big Stephen King fan.
that's okay.
Yeah, the only book of his I really enjoyed was Misery. Like, I don't know what it was, but the story behind Misery really intrigued me. So
Oh, the Dolores Claiborne. Yeah. That
Yeah.
tends to be a lot of people. They either lean towards that or The Shining. That there's no real in between. Like their fans are either like Dolores Claiborne or The Shining. That's it. They don't care about anything else Stephen King. But no, I was gonna sick the Man with No Chin on you for saying that, but
Okay.
I'll let this one go.
He's short. I'm not too worried about him. I'm actually kind of a big guy, so
How tall are you?
6 feet tall.
Yeah, I figured. I guess I'm just gonna cower now.
How tall are you?
6 feet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why are you gonna cower with the same height?
Well, I'll explain to you because I am about 165, 70 pounds, maybe, soaking wet.
I've lost over 50 pounds since last year, and I'm still 225. So
Yeah, so I'll still cower. As long as I can hit you from a far distance, I'm good to go.
I don't run fast, so you're all right.
Okay, good. Damn it. I'm a smoker, so that can't work at all for me.
Oh man, that is bad. Yeah. I've got asthma, so you're still in luck. I don't smoke, but I've got asthma, so.
Yeah. Most of my videos, I have to stop and go for a smoke halfway through and then come back and continue filming. That's why there's so much editing.
We've been talking for like 45 minutes. You're probably like, man, I like a smoke.
Oh my god, I need a smoke right now. Actually,
one of the coolest things. I don't know. It's almost bad, but one of the coolest things I've ever seen is Roger Miller.
Mhm.
I was watching this concert on YouTube from way clear back when I don't know who Roger Miller is, but
Mhm.
he was actually smoking while he was singing.
Really?
Yeah, like he had the cigarette in the corner of his mouth. He just kept smoking away, and he's singing his song. Like that's pretty impressive.
Actually, I did notice a lot of videos from especially the 70s. A lot of the one member or at least two members of the band would have a cigarette in their mouth from like even Guns N' Roses. Like what's his name, Slash, would have a smoke in his mouth the whole time in the video. It's like, well, how do they do that?
Different era, man. You know.
Apparently, yeah. Man, I need to smoke now. Well, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, so ends episode 2 of the Sabotage Show, and I'd like to thank my special guest and or co-host. We'll see how things work out in the end. The Big Black Hat Man, or Mark, if you'd rather. Thanks for coming on, man. I really appreciate this.
Oh, thanks for having me. It was a blast, man.
Okay, and you guys, hope you enjoyed listening, and stay tuned for the next episode. Thanks, guys.